Is there any intention to bring it down?
No, not at this time.
Well, we are less than 24 hours out from the deadline set by the fire marshal stating that cooling tent at the homeless camp near I-90 in Freya must come down. But those responsible for that tent say they plan to defy that order and say they are sick of being caught in political battles. Good evening and thank you for joining us for KREM 2 News at 5 tonight. I'm Mark Hanrahan.
And I'm Whitney Ward. Thank you for being here. Just hours after the Washington State Department of Transportation said they would not be clearing that growing camp, the city announced that cooling center on that land must be removed by tomorrow at 4 p.m.
KREM 2's Janelle Finch joining us now with how those in charge of the tent are responding tonight. Janelle?
Mark and Whitney, like you said, in less than 24 hours, the city hopes that this cooling tent will be gone. But Julie Garcia with Jules Helping Hands tells me, for now, the tent is here to stay. She says she's tired of service providers and people's well-being getting caught in the middle of the city and the state. She says her nonprofit is here to provide a service, and the plan is to keep doing just that. The tent went up in July to provide people living at the homeless encampment across the street a place to beat the extreme heat. Now, 2 months later, temperatures have cooled off, but the tent is still here.
This has become an operational tent, so all providers work out of this area.
Executive Director of Jules Helping Hands, Julie Garcia, says the tent has grown beyond being just a place to cool down.
What we're trying to replicate is what service would look like, say they were downtown. How do you get to the services that you need? And so this has been that kind of tent. They have to come across the street to get help. They have to come over here to get food. They have to sign up and participate to be able to access those services.
Garcia says classes like money management and employment expectations will soon be offered in the tent.
We would like to create something that teaches them how to maintain that housing once they get it, so we don't continue these hamster wheel cycles of getting housing, losing housing.
Garcia says service providers have been caught in the middle of city and state politics. She says people are losing focus of what's important for the overall well-being of our community.
I want people to stop losing focus of what we're actually trying to do here. With all this polarized politics, the city and the state, what service providers in our community are trying to do is make it better for our whole community. And we're contracted to provide a service, so we're going to continue providing that service, which is helping them get housing ready for whatever comes next.
What comes next for the people at the homeless encampment may be uncertain. But if the city doesn't get what it wants, what could be next for Jules Helping Hands is a $536 fine each day the tent is left up past Thursday. Jules Helping Hands applied for a permit before the tent went up back in July. In Tuesday's letter from the fire marshal, he declines this request for the permit and claims that the tent is trespassing on Washington Department of State-owned land. Back in July, WSDOT shared a statement that the tent is technically not permitted but is allowed as it supports the health and well-being of people living across the street. We've reached out to WSDOT to see if anything has changed now that the extreme heat has subsided. They say we'll hear back from them soon. Live in Spokane, Janelle Finch, KREM 2 News.
All right, Janelle, thank you.